Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode that dives headfirst into a topic that's as complex as it is crucial: DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion within the American school system. But beyond the textbooks and pop quizzes, schools are also grappling with something else: creating an environment where every student, regardless of background or belief, feels seen, heard, and valued. That's where DEI comes in. So over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack this acronym, exploring both the transformative potential of DEI and the very real challenges it faces. Because let's be honest, folks, this stuff is complicated, and sometimes the most important conversations are the ones that make us squirm a little bit. Okay, let's start with a fundamental question. Why does DEI matter in education? I mean, isn't the goal just to teach kids algebra and grammar? Well, yes and no. See, research has shown time and time again that when students feel a sense of belonging, when they see themselves reflected in the curriculum and the school community, something remarkable happens. They're more engaged in class, they participate more actively, and their academic performance actually improves. Think about it. If you're constantly bombarded with narratives that exclude your history, your culture, your very identity, it's hard to feel like you truly belong, right? It's like trying to solve for X when you don't even know what language the equation is written in. But when schools embrace DEI, they're essentially saying to each and every student, you matter. Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be heard. And that, my friends, is incredibly powerful. Suddenly, the classroom transforms from a place of passive learning to a dynamic space where diverse perspectives are not just tolerated, but actively sought out and celebrated. Students from marginalized backgrounds begin to see their experiences validated, their contributions valued. They're no longer relegated to the sidelines, but become active participants in their own education. And you know what? That benefits everyone. Because let's be real, the world outside of school is messy and complex and full of people from different backgrounds with different perspectives. And navigating that world successfully requires empathy, cultural competency, and the ability to communicate effectively across differences. In essence, DEI isn't just about making schools more equitable, it's about preparing students for success in a globalized world. Now let's talk about the elephant in the classroom: achievement gaps. For decades, we've seen persistent disparities in educational outcomes based on race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, and other factors. And while there's no single magic bullet to close these gaps, DEI initiatives have emerged as a powerful tool in this fight. See, DEI isn't just about making schools feel more welcoming, it's about addressing the systemic barriers that prevent all students from reaching their full potential. We're talking about things like access to quality teachers, culturally responsive curriculum, and equitable disciplinary practices. Because here's the thing: talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. When we talk about achievement gaps, we're really talking about opportunity gaps. And DEI seeks to level the playing field by ensuring that all students have access to the resources and support they need to succeed. For example, studies have shown that students of color are more likely to attend schools with higher concentrations of novice teachers, who often lack the experience and training to effectively address the needs of diverse learners. DEI initiatives can help address this by recruiting and retaining more teachers of color, who can serve as role models for students and bring valuable cultural perspectives to the classroom. Similarly, DEI can lead to the adoption of curricula that are more inclusive and representative of the histories and experiences of all students. Imagine for a moment the impact of learning about the civil rights movement, not just from the perspective of Dr. King, but also from the voices of the countless unsung heroes who fought for equality. That's the power of a DEI-informed curriculum. It broadens our understanding of history, challenges our assumptions, and helps students see themselves as active agents of change. And when students see themselves reflected in the curriculum, they're more likely to feel a sense of ownership over their education and to strive for academic excellence. But DEI's impact on achievement gaps extends beyond the classroom. It also involves addressing the systemic biases that can lead to disproportionate disciplinary practices. By addressing these systemic inequities, DEI creates a more just and equitable education system that empowers all students to reach their full potential. Now let's be real, implementing DEI in schools isn't always sunshine and roses. It's a complex process that comes with its fair share of challenges and criticisms. One of the biggest hurdles is, well, resistance to change. We're talking about deeply ingrained beliefs, biases, and power structures that can be tough to dismantle. Some people might argue that DEI is about political correctness or reverse discrimination, but those arguments often stem from a misunderstanding of what DEI is truly about. DEI isn't about giving preferential treatment to certain groups. It's about creating a level playing field where everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. It's about recognizing that historical inequities have created systemic barriers for marginalized groups, and that we need to actively work to dismantle those barriers in order to create a truly just and equitable society. Another challenge is the potential for DEI initiatives to be implemented in a superficial or performative way. It's one thing to hang up a diversity is our strength poster in the hallway, but it's quite another to engage in the deep, systemic work required to create lasting change. DEI can't be just another item on a checklist. It needs to be woven into the very fabric of the school culture. This requires a sustained commitment from school leaders, educators, parents, and the wider community. It's about creating a culture of continuous learning and growth where we're constantly reflecting on our own biases and working to create a more inclusive and equitable environment for all. And let's not forget the practical challenges. Implementing DEI initiatives often requires additional resources, training, and support for educators. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or maybe the underfunded program in the resource cupboard money. Because let's be real, folks, implementing meaningful DEI initiatives takes more than good intentions. It takes resources. And that's where things can get a little, shall we say, complicated. Schools, especially those in under-resourced communities, often face the daunting task of trying to do more with less. And when budgets are stretched thin, it can be tempting to view DEI as an extra, something to be addressed once the essentials are covered. But here's the thing, DEI is not an add-on. It's fundamental to creating a high-quality education system that serves all students. Investing in DEI means investing in things like hiring diverse educators, developing culturally responsive curricula, providing professional development for teachers on culturally responsive teaching practices, and creating support systems for marginalized students. These things cost money, and it's a cost that we, as a society, need to be willing to bear. Now, some might argue that we simply can't afford it, but I'd argue that we can't afford not to. The cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of investment. When we fail to invest in DEI, we perpetuate a cycle of inequity that leaves countless students behind. We limit their future opportunities, stifle their potential, and ultimately, we all pay the price. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and talk about the bigger picture. Because here's the thing about DEI, it's not just about schools. It's about creating a more just, equitable, and compassionate society for everyone. When we invest in DEI in education, we're not just investing in our children's future, we're investing in the very fabric of our democracy. Think about it. Schools are the training grounds for citizenship. They're where we learn to engage in civil discourse, to respect different perspectives, and to work together to solve problems. And when those schools are truly diverse, equitable, and inclusive, they become powerful engines for social change. Students who graduate from DEI-focused schools are more likely to be empathetic, culturally competent, and engaged citizens. They're more likely to challenge injustice, to advocate for marginalized communities, and to build bridges of understanding across difference. In a world that often feels increasingly divided, these qualities are more important than ever. We need young people who are equipped to navigate complexity, to embrace diversity, and to build a more just and equitable world for all. And that's the ultimate promise of DEI. It's not just about creating better schools, it's about creating a better world. So, there you have it, folks. We've explored the multifaceted world of DEI in American schools, from its potential to boost student engagement and performance to the very real challenges of implementation and the ongoing debates surrounding its role in education. We've talked about the need to address achievement gaps, the importance of cultural responsiveness, and the long-term societal benefits of creating a more inclusive and equitable education system. But most importantly, we've started a conversation. And that conversation doesn't end here. I want to hear from you. Share your experiences, your perspectives, and your ideas in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more content on education, history, and the big questions that shape our world.